Hello Divi Nation and welcome. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to add material design to your website with Divi. Now material design is pretty cool, so this is something that you can actually achieve using Divi. So in today's tutorial, we'll be showing you step by step how to achieve this. Throughout this tutorial, we're going to be using about 4 images and also some CSS code. Now, if you'd like to follow along, I will include the link to the blog article in the show notes below. Okay, so let's start off by creating a brand new page. So I'm going to come over here to pages and click on add new. We're going to call this page material, and then I'm going to click on use the Divi builder. Now I prefer working in the visual builder, so I'm going to go ahead and click on use visual builder. Okay, so the first thing we need to do here is to add a background image. So I'm going to come over here into the settings, and then I'm going to upload a background image. Now my image is in my downloads folder, so I'm just going to go and search for it, and it's this one. And then once uploaded, I'm going to go ahead and click on upload an image. So I'm just going to go ahead and save for now. So next I'm going to go into the row settings, and I'm going to add some padding. So I'm going to add 150 to the top and 50 to the bottom. Next, let's go into the design and add a custom margin to the bottom of -100. Okay, cool. So now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and save. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to add another standard section. So I'm going to click on regular, single row. So for now, I'm just going to close this. I'm going to go into my settings, and we're going to make sure that we're going to use a custom width of 700. So I'm just going to type 700, and then we're going to add a padding top of 50 and padding bottom of 50. Next, let's go to the design tab, and we're going to add a -144 to the custom margin top, 0 on the bottom. And we're going to make sure the background color is set to white. And then we need to go into the CSS tab, and into the main element, we're going to add the CSS code. Now this CSS code, as you can see here, is adding this drop shadow. So once we're done with that, let's go ahead and save. Now it's time to add our text module. So let's go ahead and add a text module. So I'm just going to type in text here so I can find it easily. And then I'm just going to paste my text. So the text orientation is set to left. We need to make sure that it's centered. Okay, so let's go into the design. So here we're going to make sure that the header font is bold, and the size needs to be about 40. And then the color, I'm just going to paste my hex color in here. And finally, the header letter spacing needs to be 2. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and save. So pretty much our header area is looking quite nice. So next we need to add the columns. So to do that, we're going to add a standard section, and we're going to add 2 columns. So before we can go ahead and add our modules, what we need to do is to go into the section settings and make sure that our custom padding is set to 0 for the top, 20 for the right, and 20 for the left. Next, let's go into the design tab. So I'm going to click on design, and here we need to make sure that our columns are equalized. So I'm going to come over here to equalize column height and set that to yes. And then finally, we need to come here to the CSS tab and add a class of material. Once we're done with that, let's go ahead and save. The next stage now is to start adding our modules. So I'm going to start off by adding my image. I'm going to click on image URL, and I'm going to upload my image. So what I'm going to do here, because I have 4 images that I'll be using throughout this, so I'm just going to upload all 4 of them just to save me from going back and forth. Okay, so I'm just going to click on the first one and click upload an image. So that's my first image. And then over here, we need to make sure that remove space below the image is set to yes, and image alignment is set to centered. Now, when it comes to the animation, this is where you can decide what you want to do. But for mine, I'm just going to add a fade in. Okay, so let's go ahead and save, and let's add our next module. So I'm just going to click the plus button here, and this time it's going to be a button. So I'm just going to click on the button. So the button URL, I'm just going to add a blank link. Okay, so moving down here, URL opens. It's always good practice to make sure that this opens in a new tab. On the button text, I'm just going to add more button alignment. I'm going to make sure that it's centered. Now, as you can see, our button by default doesn't match our design. So we need to go in and make quite a few adjustments to the button. So we're going to come over here to design, and then we're going to click on use custom styles for button. So this is going to give us all the options that we need to style this button. So let's start off with the button text size. So here, let's set it to 24. The text color, that can be white, and then the background color. I'm just going to paste my hexadecimal over there. So for the border width and the border radius, we can set that to 0 because in our material design, we don't have rounded corners. Right, let's scroll down and add our icon. So I'm going to go with this one. And over here, we only want to show the button on hover. So this option here is set to yes. We need to make sure that that's set to no. Okay, so I'm pretty much happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and save. Now we're going to add our last module, and this is going to be the text module. So I'm going to click on this plus to add the module. So it's going to be a text. So I'm just going to search for it. And then I'm just going to paste my text in here. So firstly, in the general settings, we just need to make sure that the text is centered. And then in the design settings, let's scroll all the way down until we get to custom padding. And let's give this a padding of 10 top, 10 right, 10 bottom, and 10 left. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to do all the steps that I've done here on the right. But here's a quick tip. Instead of me going through all these settings that I've just gone through, it's going to save me time if I can just duplicate this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use some shortcuts, and this is pretty cool if you're using the front-end editor to duplicate. So if you're on a Mac, you can use Command C. If you're on a PC, it's Control C. So I'm just going to hit Command C, come over here to this plus and press Command V to paste, or Control V if you're on a PC. So now you can see my images over there. Now, if you want to do it the traditional way, you can just come over here, hover over this area, hit this duplicate button, and then you can just drag it over to the right like that. But I like saving time, so I'm just going to hit Command C, come over here, Command V. Now, as I said, if you're on a PC, just replace the command with the control. Okay, so for our layout, we need to have 4 images. So what I'm going to do is to duplicate the whole row. So I'm just going to hit duplicate here. So now we can see that we have all these 4 images and all the items in it. So what I'm going to do now is to go in and change these images. Okay, so pretty much our layout is looking pretty cool, but now what we need to do is to make sure that these buttons are between the image and the text. So what I'm going to do quickly here is I'm going to come over here to my wireframe mode, and then I'm just going to drag the button up. I prefer doing it this way because I can see where my buttons are easier. And this is a brand new feature that we have over here in Divi. Okay, so now that I've dragged my button over between the image and the text, I can go ahead and click the wireframe view, and that'll take me back to my front-end editor. Okay, so now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and save. In fact, we might as well exit the Visual Builder because the final stage now is to add my CSS code. Now, what the CSS code is going to do is it's going to add a bit more styling to this page and make it look even much better. So I'm going to come over here to my dashboard. So make sure that you come over here to Divi, Theme Options, and then scroll all the way down until you get to Custom CSS. Now, if you have some code already in the custom CSS, just make sure that you drag all the way down and locate where your last line of code was entered, enter a few lines, and then just paste your new CSS code. Now, the reason why we do that is because if you mix this CSS code with code that's previously been entered, it will cause a lot of problems, and what you're trying to achieve will definitely not work because there'll be a conflict. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and click on Save Changes, and then I'm going to come over here to the page that we've been designing, refresh it, and we should see a difference. Okay, fantastic. Now we can see that we have a design, and when we mouse over these images, we have this zoom in effect. So pretty much this is how you create a material design in Divi. So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and also do subscribe and follow us on our social media platforms. By doing so, you'll be notified every time we produce new videos similar to what you've seen today. Until next time, thanks for watching and see you soon.